Now we have Elecampane, Grand Honnet, as it's called in French. This one took a bit of extra time to strain. Had to bring it home with me overnight. Watch it. I had to watch it all night. You think I liked doing that? Didn't like doing it. Missed my favorite shows. Missed all my favorite shows.
It's a time to make AMARO, yesterday and not tomorrow. If you like a bit of taste, that is a time you will not waste.
Similar to the Angelica and the Raisin de Montagne, Oregon grape root, this has like a middle ground between root and flower. Flute. Would that be the middle ground? Flute. This has a flute quality. Floral root. Definitely a flute. That's a very floral piece of tree bark right there. Flute. Nice fluteness. I consider myself a flautist. I prefer this middle ground. I'm not a heavy root guy. I'm not a heavy flower guy. I'm a flautist. And I deserve to be respected for that. As should you. Of all the things I've tasted so far, this feels like the most mature of all the flavors, the most dignified. It feels like it's its own specific flavor. I don't say that in a oppressive way towards everything else. It just feels like this would be one of the few ingredients, other than anise, that I would recognize as Elecampane. I recommend this ingredient in an Amaro. When offset with some of the honeyish floral qualities, could make for a very interesting collaboration. Next up, we have the sticky icky of the bunch, Myrrh. Myrrh gum. It's these very cool, gummy-ish, tree sappy style pieces. I recognize this aroma from the Amaro batches. It's a very beautiful color, but the cloudiness is something that has concerned me since I finished straining it. Why? Why is it cloudy? I expected the anise to be cloudy, but not the myrrh. You're going in the corner of shame. That's right. You're going in the corner of shame. I think the myrrh is the ingredient that's been... It actually doesn't smell too intense, but the flavor is that back of the throat. That's really intense. That's in that flute range, that floral root middle ground, but it leans heavier towards the very bitter root. It might be worth looking into cutting this down, maybe not altogether, but significantly. Because if it's bringing a lot of the cloudiness that I'm having a hard time straining out, then why not try to minimize this variable, if not altogether. It's quite mild at first, and then it just stays way in the back. That's the sensation that I'm not crazy about having for an Amaro. I don't think any Amaro should have that, where it just like stays in the back of your throat in like a very uncomfortable way. So, Myrrh, you're most likely going to the corner of shame. You may get redeemed in a little bit by your friend, Green Cardamom. Are you not friends? That's a shame. Who do we have? Damiana. It smells like sweet passion. Like the greatest lustful night of your life, for those that choose to have a lustful life. This is what that smells like. I want you all to be here with me for this. In your own corners of the room. Perverts. I haven't used this in any of my batches yet, and I'm extremely excited to incorporate this into definitely the Brussels sprout batch, because I think that having that jolt of sweet air to it will offset some of the Brussels sprout nuttiness. Slides past. Very easy to sip. Sweet, a little floral, but fruity. And that's not something you necessarily want in an Amaro, for it to be fruity. But to offset some of the more harsh, bitter ingredients, that lightness will go a long way. We're in love. It's a match made in heaven. And now, the ingredient that I was most suspicious of, green cardamom. Don't ask me why. I just had a hunch. Now I have two different strains here, one from 1 week and one from 2 weeks. So we'll try both. Here's the 1 week. It's a beautiful color, chartreusey, greenish yellow. Bit of a floral quality to it, but tastes earthy, vegetal on that end of the spectrum. For comparison's sake, let's try the 2 week steep. 1 week, 2 week, 1 week, 2 week, 2 week, 1 week. Pretty similar hue too. Maybe a slight edge in the darkness for the 2 week, but the 1 week is a nice milder vegetal quality, but the 2 week, it hits you a bit more. Definitely hotter. On subsequent batches, I'm going to be experimenting with different steep times of different ingredients. I think the cardamom may sit in the pull after 1 week batch, as opposed to the ingredients that I'll let steep for 2 weeks, such as the Damiana, the chamomile, or even the lemon verbena. So, what did we learn today? A couple things. I should get a ride home. Certain ingredients have a much more numbing effect on the tongue than others. And I think that's a component that I'm going to try to limit to maybe just one of these variables as opposed to multiple, because I feel like a pile-on effect of the numbing sensation, that's something that you just can't really regulate. That there is a middle ground that I personally prefer between floral and root, earthy, bitter flavor, which I'll affectionately call as flute from now on, that middle ground, floral root. I hope this experience is going to give not only myself, but everyone else some confidence with the ingredients that they're curious about using in their own Amari. And hopefully you'll want to use some of these, some other ones, make some tinctures of your own. What a fun process. Takes up a lot of jars. We're experiencing the great canning crisis of 2020 where you just can't find jars. I don't have all of them. This is it, okay? Don't come after me. But you can't find jars anymore. It's the great canning crisis of 2020. That's Amaro. All this, that's Amaro. That being said, Myrrh, you know where you're going, Myrrh.
Corner of shame. Shame. Stop that. Smettila. I don't like when they do that. It's too weird. Ciao, Amaro babies. I will make this quick. Elecampane, a very balanced bitterness, slightly nutty, not like a walnut, but like Eduardo Murphy, yeah? Myrrh. Holy cannoli, you are the most bitter flavor I have ever tasted. Arrivederci, Myrrh. I never want to see you again. Damiana Leaf, you are light and herbal, but with a floral warmth. So you have my heart. Green cardamom, you sneaky buggers, you are very funny looking. A super light and warm spiciness, interesting color to play with. Ciao.
It's a time to make Amaro yesterday and not tomorrow. If you like a bitter taste, this a time you will not waste.